Okay, we're now going to look at the last process, which is photosynthesis. Now, the purpose of photosynthesis is for plants to use the sun's energy, water and carbon dioxide to produce glucose. So they're using the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and producing oxygen as a byproduct. So glucose is used for the respiration or energy growth and metabolism. So we just talked about respiration here, okay? This is photosynthesis, and the equation for photosynthesis is actually the opposite to respiration. We have 6 carbon dioxide plus 12 water molecules, okay, that goes into making glucose plus 6 oxygen plus 6 water. Okay, we see in the middle here we need light, enzymes and chlorophyll for the reaction to take place. Okay, so we have the light dependent and light independent reactions. Both of these are required for photosynthesis. Okay, so the light dependent reaction is where we have photons of light hitting chlorophyll. Okay, that's the pigment that's found in the chloroplast. When this happens, the water is split into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, remember water is H2O, so it's broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, the oxygen is actually released via the stomata, which is the opening at the bottom of the leaf, controlled by the guard cells, and that's actually released into the atmosphere. The stomata as well, while we're at it, is where the carbon dioxide enters the plant. Okay, so NADPH carries hydrogen as NADPH. NADP carries hydrogen as NADPH. So the NADP is our electron carrier that is carrying this. Okay, it's pretty much just like a pickup truck, and it's carrying this box or this hydrogen. ATP is produced to drive light-independent reactions here. Okay, so the light-independent reaction takes place in the stoma of the chloroplast. Hydrogens are transported to the stroma to be combined with carbon dioxide using an enzyme ribosco to generate glucose. Okay, so this process of photosynthesis is regulated or controlled by an enzyme. So there are factors that can actually affect the rate of photosynthesis. This diagram illustrates what's happening with photosynthesis. Okay, we have water, which is coming in, okay, plus the light we need, and then we've got oxygen being produced in the light reaction. In the light independent reaction down here, we have carbon dioxide entering, okay, we've got the NADPH and ATP, okay, and then we have the NADP, the electron carrier going back, ADP, and then the phosphate, the PI, the inorganic phosphate, okay, and then we have glucose or sugar being produced in this light independent phase. Okay, so there are factors, as I said before, that affect the rate of photosynthesis. So the rate changes due to light intensity, absolutely. Okay, that's because plants need light to begin with. Okay, so low light equals higher photosynthesis until heat becomes a factor. So low light equals lower rate of photosynthesis here. Sorry, I said low, but this was high. So high light means higher photosynthesis. Low light equals a low rate of photosynthesis. So something around, the middle, the optimum light intensity is good for the plant to carry out photosynthesis efficiently. Okay, the next one is temperature. Okay, temperature is directly related to enzymes because enzymes have an optimum temperature in which they operate at. Anything too high or above the optimum temperature will denature those proteins, so they won't carry out the reaction. Okay, if the temperature was too high, for example, okay, the Rubisco is not going to work. Okay, so glucose is not going to be made, so the plant can't grow and develop. Okay, so optimum is best. Carbon dioxide is another important feature. Okay, higher concentration of carbon dioxide means a higher rate of photosynthesis. Now this is only up until a certain point where it reaches a plateau or a level where it levels off. Water is needed as the raw ingredient for photosynthesis. Okay, if we don't have water, the plant can't utilize that to produce oxygen and to break down basically into oxygen and the hydrogen that is needed to produce glucose. So water is a really important feature for plants to carry out photosynthesis. Okay, so we have a diagram here just illustrating this. Okay, for the light reaction, we've got the thylakoids, which are the stacks here, okay? And these stacks of thylakoids make up something called a grana. So these are inside the chloroplast, and this is all happening inside. So the light, okay, the photons of light are hitting the chlorophyll here, okay? And then we've got the water coming in, and then oxygen being produced, which is split from the water. The hydrogen, which is being split, is carried by the NADP. Okay, that's why it's NADPH, because it's got that hydrogen from here. And that's going across to the Calvin cycle. ATP is also needed here. In the Calvin cycle, we need carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, okay, and that is going through, and we have sugar or glucose being produced. Okay, so Calvin cycle, we've just used ATP, now we've got ADP, and inorganic phosphate here, because the phosphate's been used, and that bond's been broken between the second and third phosphate and ATP, that's why we have ADP. We have NADP here, okay, because that hydrogen has been used here overall to produce glucose. Alright, there is the next diagram here. We've got the chloroplast structure here with the thylakoid, which we just looked at here. We've got the outer and inner membrane here, ribosomes, starch granules, granum, stroma, thylakoids. Okay, so lots of different components that make up the chloroplast, but the most important being the thylakoids overall. Okay, so the light-dependent reaction occurs in the grana or thylakoid membrane. The light-independent reaction, okay, this one here, occurs in the stroma. Now, stroma is clear and allows maximum light penetration for reactions. Now, we're looking now at the relevant structures and the adaptations for efficiency. So that's actually a great structure or adaptation that the chloroplast have, is that the stroma is clear, so it allows for maximum light penetration for the reaction. The stroma has enzymes to carry hydrogen, and that's a really important feature here. Thylakoids are stacked to maximize the amount of chlorophyll there for photosynthesis reaction and have a large surface area. Okay, because we've got those stacks of the thylakoids making up those grana, okay, we're maximizing the surface area for photosynthesis. Basically means we have a bigger area for the photons from the light, okay, to hit those grana in the chloroplast to maximize photosynthesis. And then the last point here, the outer membrane allows chloroplasts to function independently of the rest of the plant cell. Okay, it is quite similar to the mitochondria, in that the outer membrane means that it can act independently to the rest of the cell. Okay, so that pretty much summarizes everything from the cell biology topic. We've got all the main processes here, and then all the main ideas on the left-hand side.